To all who come to this happy place,
Welcome.
welcome.
Well, come in.
Let's put on the show.
Your cadaverous pallor
Aloha.
betrays an aura of foreboding.
Hang on to them hats and glasses.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3 of Remain Seated, Please.
We did it!
What did we do?
We made it to season 3.
Yay! As always, I'm Robert,
I'm David.
I'm Inthia.
I'm Suzi.
and what are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about
Food!
the history of festivals at California Adventure.
That's Disney California Adventure.
Thank you. And we're going to parlay that into the current festival going on right now, the Food and Wine Festival.
Yeah, so Inthia is going to take us down a little journey through the festivals of California Adventure. Right, Inthia?
Sure. So, California Adventure opened in 2001, and 5 years later, in 2006, the Food and Wine Festival started. It very much emulated the Food and Wine Festival of EPCOT, but to a severely smaller scale.
Do any of you remember that festival?
The first one?
Yeah.
I remember, what's funny is you say severely small, and I was totally unfamiliar with the Epcot one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it being everywhere and in the way.
I don't remember it.
So it's an annual festival celebrating cuisine, wine, and beer in California, of California. So yeah, it's California cuisine, and it's a spring festival. So in 2006, when it opened, it had 2 service stations with 12 different items to get, and offering of pairings of wine or beer, and the Golden Vine Winery hosted some culinary demos, as well as some seminars, and had some guest sommeliers. Is that how you say it? I think so. And an event thing.
So for that first year, where in the park were things located?
So that's where I was getting to, my friend. So they had the festival market, which we have now. However, it was the Bountiful Valley Farmers Market and Lucky Fortune Cookery were used as the 2 places where you could go get food. But it was, so you went to like Lucky Fortune and you're just so always used to having Chinese food, but you could go get artichoke with aioli and all this stuff there. So the farmers market, I believe, had the least amount of food there, and most of it was at Lucky Fortune.
So only in those 2, and the Bountiful Farms was basically where Ghirardelli is now, right?
Well,
That was the tortilla factory.
no,
Oh, right, but like
kind
to
of where
the
Cars Land,
Yeah.
I guess, is, because
Right.
it's so weird when you see something so vividly in your head.
Wasn't Bountiful Valley Farmers Market, which for some reason I keep looking at it, it was where the entrance to Bugs Land is now.
Yeah,
They
it's
had
all
a cow.
Yeah, from there to Cars Land, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It was made to look like the farmers market at Fairfax and Third.
Yes, it was. So they also had premium events with celebrity chefs, a lunch and learn, and a Napa Rose cooking school. So this only lasted from 2006 to 2010. Then in 2011, they started major construction at the park. So it was shut down for 5 years, and it returned in 2016. And by the time it got through the 5 years that it had been running, it really, or the 4 years, it really blossomed and grew. There was a miniature beer garden, and everything seemed to be more pushed towards the front of the park. So when you were walking into the park and you walked through the postcards and everything, you would encounter the beer gardens. You would encounter like an olive oil tasting station, and things were relatively inexpensive, if not almost free.
But did they ever have a giant vat of cranberries?
No, the bog. No, I wish they had the bog here, but they did have the bog several years.
Remember that at Disney World, at
Disney
Epcot?
World.
No.
When you walked into Epcot, there would be a cranberry bog.
If it was there, I probably didn't notice.
I mean, you would though, because there were people with like those water. What are they? The water overalls, whatever. And they're just standing.
They walk through it.
Like thigh deep in cranberries.
They're like Lucy with the grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know. I don't remember.
I think they only had it for a few years.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't every single year. Honestly, there isn't a lot of documentation that happened of the earlier years of the food festival. The Disney food blog, they started towards the end of the first run of it. So 2010 is the earliest.
Yeah.
I did find documentation on Mice Chat, I think it was, from 2006, but they had little to no photos. They did have a rundown of the food that they had, but they had really no information on it.
Wow.
I do remember walking through it. I never did it the first time around.
Did either of you?
We finally did it in 2010 when we were so opposed to it, and we fell in love with it. And then they stopped.
Yeah, and I think everyone might have thought that it was just not as popular, or maybe just not enough people were going to it.
Well, didn't they not do it the next year? And then we were bummed because we had such a good time.
Well,
and it was a couple years.
A 5-year hiatus.
Yeah,
you
it's a
said.
5-year
Okay.
hiatus. Yeah.
We were just reminiscing about it when we did, I guess, this year's, and how different it is. Like, now everything costs so much, and like, we remember there was a thing where you could taste like wine, like
You could sit through like a whole wine tasting class, and it was $1.
$1, and that's because they had to legally charge you, I guess, to serve you or whatever. And no, none of that.
And all of that was in stage 12, and it still was all dressed up like opening day at 2001. It was so great.
Yeah, they were using really weird spaces that they don't use now. And yeah, it was much more of a town festival feel.
Yeah.
Way less corporate feeling.
Yes.
It was something very, very different than it is now.
Do you remember when the Mission Tortilla Factory was there would regularly be a chef back there making dishes, Mexican dishes?
Oh, that's right.
Remember they had a big mirror above him so you could see down below what he's doing.
So this festival has been like super popular. So it came back in 2016, and then in 2017, Festival of the Holidays debuted. And that was a huge hit. So now they had 2 festivals going, and that one also focused on Southern California cuisine, but it was then holiday cuisines from different cultures in California. And that also led to the Lunar New Year, and that was a very tiny festival. And now both of these festivals have exploded to be just as involved and as large as the Food and Wine Festival. And then it's also led to smaller events such as the Summer of Heroes and Pixar Fest, where they'll have specialty foods, but those do not expand to take up the main thoroughfare, which is now the setup for the Food and Wine Festival. So now this year, where the first festival started with 2 locations, essentially 2, I'll call them kiosks, but they weren't. There were 2 food locations. Now there are 15 kiosks that line from the end of Buena Vista Street all the way to the end of the other end of the park. And it's just food after food after food, and that's not including the tinier setups in between. Like, they started bringing in specialty macarons that could be sold in the park, hot sauces, little olive oils that you can buy from like essentially little boutiques that are all Southern California based.
Do you count Viva Navidad in part of a festival?
Well, Viva Navidad,
Because they get specialty food for their event.
but that's now encompassed into
Yeah.
Festival of the Holidays.
It is part of Festival of the Holidays?
Mm-hmm. Because it happens during the same time. Viva Navidad, I think, was like a little test where they had it. It felt like it was somewhat separate from the holiday stuff, but now I feel like they're very synonymous. And that honestly may have paved the way to having a bigger Festival of the Holidays, because
Yeah.
the response to Viva Navidad was amazing.
Viva Navidad is one of my favorite things.
It's so great, and the food's
Paradise
always
Gardens.
good. Yeah, and I like how they decorate that area. And Paradise Gardens gets a lot of love for these festivals.
Yeah.
They really do transform them. Like now, it's a really nice looking beer garden. And they really go all out, and it's very, I don't know, it's very inviting to be back there. Which I think at all times of the year, it's very inviting to be back there, but it really seems like they theme it so well.
When Paradise Gardens is not doing Viva Navidad or Lunar New Year or whatever it might be, is it still Mediterranean food or is it all the time Mexican food?
I think it's Mediterranean food, like on the weekends. If the park is busy, the likelihood, because I believe that Mediterranean menu showed back up before Food and Wine Festival for like a weekend or two. But no one that I know of has had any yet.
Yeah.
They had really good chicken skewers. But yeah, so now the festival has just copious amounts of offerings that it's really impossible to not appeal to any. Like, they are hitting all demographics. They have a beer garden, a festival marketplace, which is all the kiosks, that line the main thoroughfare. What I really like is that they will have private cooking classes with celebrity chefs, or you will have like a celebrity chef in some sort of educational capacity. Or this year what they're doing is you can dine with a Disney chef, which they're starting to like make their own name for themselves. And then you also have these demonstrations that you can walk up to. I remember last year we went and watched a woman that had won, her name is Claudia, I can't remember her last name. She had won Master Chef.
Oh, okay.
And she was there with her cookbook, and she was demonstrating how to make fish, and I listened to her go through everything and cutting vegetables and all this stuff, and some stuff I actually like retained and now do with how I prep up food. But I love that you're walking through to go to Goofy's Sky School, and you're like, oh, let me go see what's happening here. And they set them up in all these areas where it's just like nice and inviting, even though the sun is always at a horrible angle for someone. So yeah, they have food and beverage seminars. Now they're really bringing in the annual pass holders by having an AP corner and having like specialty pins that you can get. For years they did give away recipes, which I thought was really awesome.
They say, "Here, grab a button."
So they have like little giveaways or photo ops that they don't offer to the general public. It's just annual pass holders. You can have dinner with Disney chefs, as I mentioned before. Chef demonstrations. They do have, I think it's called like Sweet Sundays or something, where they are dessert fixed demonstrations, usually held at like the Napa Rose, and you can you'll go through making a dessert, mixology, and they also have junior chefs, which are for their children-based cooking experiences. So from this first year where they offered just 12 different items on a menu and just a handful of very well executed seminars and experiences, now they have over 15 kiosks and a very full schedule throughout the entire time. And then they also have live performances, live music, so it really brings in that festival feel and community.
With all the Food and Wine Festival stuff, it's all great, but I do have a couple of complaints. I gotta put in there.
No way. What's up?
You don't say.
One, there's too many festivals.
There's three.
It's almost throughout the whole year, it seems like, and it makes
There's
the Food
way
and
more
Wine
festivals at
Festival.
Epcot.
Well, that's true also, but
Food and Wine lasts like 18 months.
It really does.
yeah, but that's
I think it's because
people
they're
don't-
close together,
But-
based off of.
But what I'm
whatever.
saying is, it makes Food and Wine seem It makes Food and Wine seem less special when it happens so often.
I will say that Food and Wine starts. I'm sorry. We start Festival of the Holidays from fall. Starts in late fall to the winter. And then it goes right into Lunar New Year. So there's like a few weeks between those. And then there's like 2 weeks between that and Food and Wine. And Food and Wine is like a month, a little over a month long.
And then it'll
And
go
then
into
we
Summer
don't
of
have,
Heroes.
and then but I will say that the rest of the year there aren't just all those kiosks lining.
That's
the
what I was going to
areas.
say. Summer of Heroes doesn't have the kiosks going down the pathway.
But
I
then
feel
you
like
know,
they're there too long though, through winter, through spring, I guess.
well, I mean, but they're there.
Well,
Yeah.
I think too, I'm sorry, but they're doing this because they're literally trying to entice people
No, I know,
that
but-
don't want to, or just try to keep people out of Galaxy's Edge. So that's what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
And then the other complaint that I had that we've experienced is they sell out fast.
They do sell out of food fast.
Yeah.
And I will. One of the things that I think the last few years have been such a culinary delight, and now I'm hearing, and I'm sure we'll get into it when you guys start reviewing your food, the quality of that food is going down. And it is feeding more of the masses than it is putting the quality into the food.
Well, the quality of the food in the entire park is going down, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, and it's all about Instagrammable stuff.
Right.
So, which we have definitely touched on before. But to wrap this up, I mean, unfortunately, there isn't that much documentation. They have started to make it more, I'm going to say user-friendly, for lack of a better word, with the Sip and Savor pass, as well as now this year they introduced being able to purchase foods at any of the kiosks. One of the drawbacks I've heard is that they won't know if
Something's
the kiosk is out. Yeah, that you've purchased something from.
It was something that I was intrigued by, but then we totally just forgot and just didn't utilize it.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel like we would, strangely enough, maybe that's part of the appeal for us. I don't know. But like we would be like, oh, hey, next booth. And like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm a checker outer. I'm a cruiser, so I like to
Yeah.
go and cruise by
Yeah.
and see how things look,
Sure.
what people have in their hand.
Yeah.
So I'm not, if I get to the first booth, I'm not going to buy out the rest of the
Yeah.
booths.
And it
hope for the
seems,
best.
it just seems like such a like, I guess some people just operate that way, but I can't even think about anything except
I guess
for
a month
what's
into the
there.
festival, and you're like, all right, I've tried everything at this point. I'm gonna go get this, and this, and
Yeah.
you're just not.
But I
gonna
do
allow
think
it.
that's a big downfall. And while we didn't experience it a ton, I do get what you guys are saying, because sometimes they do run out of things. Obviously, later in the day, especially how busy things are. But again, like, where's the planning? Or they'll like run out of a key component
Yeah.
of a thing,
That's
which
always
is
very
really
bizarre.
strange. Yeah.
we have your margarita, but we can't put anything on the rim.
Or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's
And it's
weird.
just sort of strange. But I also, and sorry, you may touch on it, but there's the 2 Sip and Savor passes. Well, maybe not 2. There's 1, but
You can
Am
get
I
one
saying
without being
this?
an annual pass holder.
yes, and they didn't used to do that, correct?
I think they did that the first year where there were 2 different ones.
Okay.
Mm.
And I thought it caused mass confusion, so now it's just an annual pass holder thing. But if they've brought back 2,
They did bring one that's
Yeah.
like non-discounted. Like
What is
there
that?
are
I think
two.
it's $6 more or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's like anything. It's just like, why not just apply the AP discount versus...
The point is
Essentially.
just so you don't have to take your wallet out every time.
I will say that one of the things.
No,
the
but having the
strategies-
2. Because it does, it's like they are, it's like
Yeah.
they sell it as there's this one and then there's this one. But in essence, they're the same thing. One's just discounted.
The thing I like about the Sip and Savor is that I've now spent this amount of money, and I know that I'm guaranteed to get this many things. So I can budget for that money. I can budget accordingly. Where before what I did when we went to Food and Wine Festival at EPCOT was I filled up a gift card. And I just went through and was like swipe happy. And then I ran out of money and I was like, oh, just got to fill it up again. And when, so I didn't have a budget, but it's nice to be able to set a budget because these things are so expensive now. Where I think that the Sip and Savor is a really good way it makes you feel like your money, even if it's not being spent more wisely, is being spent wisely because you have
more planful.
You're planning for so once you've run out of these tabs, you've already allotted for this amount of money and you know that you're going to get this stuff. So I don't know, it just seems like a really good planning thing, and then you don't have to fiddle with bringing your wallet out and anything like that except to show your AP card. But yeah, so I think it's a really good.
You can also buy the Sip and Savor pass at any of the kiosks now, which I don't know that they talked about much, but is like because that was the one thing in the past that I can recall. They would make it so that you would have to go into the middle, like right by the winery part, and that's where you had to buy it. And that's
you
the
could also
only
get
place
it at the
you could buy
photo
it.
place.
Yeah, that's what you had found, and I walked all the way to the middle part because that's where I just know to go.
But even then, like you didn't, which is just genius. You just could literally buy it wherever. You could buy it because it's like, why did they ever make it that difficult?
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
But
they should have been selling them at the beginning, at the
entrance,
the little entrance of that area.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Especially because that's a cart that's literally movable.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But yeah, that's all I have regarding the Food and Wine Festival, which I love with all my heart. I think it's really great. And
why didn't you do it at the beginning?
Why didn't? Oh,
in the first 4
I was
years.
too poor.
Oh,
I mean, I was.
It wasn't that you didn't want to do it, but everything. I mean, I suppose it's easy to assume you can't do it because it costs money.
Yes,
but I mean, we paid $1.
Yeah, I had no idea.
And they came out apologizing to us that they were like, "Guys, sorry, we have to. It's $1."
I also had friends that were not interested in doing that kind of stuff. So we just
definitely us the
never
first
did
few
it.
years, and then I don't know why we caved and finally did it, and we had so much fun.
Everyone just was like, "Oh, this is just another ploy. It's another, we're
which is
spending
funny
so much
because
money."
it wasn't then. I mean, everything in essence is, but it definitely, like how you touched on, how it felt more.
No, essentially it was like a commercial you were sitting through for the winery, and it was like, here's our winery, this is what we're about, here's our grapes, this is how we grow it, and this is like, oh, and this is when we harvest the grapes, this is how long they sit, does anybody have any questions? Yes. Oh, actually they take this long to ferment.
The Disneyland guest culture has changed so much in the past 15 years.
Yeah.
We're really leaning into new experiences and just expecting more from them. We're leaning into having more experiences and really just taking all of the entertainment and food that they will give us. Which is nice because I think they're more apt to taking risks. Even though, I mean, that was a really big risk for those 4 years, where a lot of people weren't going because I think the longest line was to get into like the beer garden because the beer garden only fit like 20 people.
Yeah.
Where now, it's a whole section of the park.
Oh, and they did it up this time. Am I thinking of the right place or no?
Where?
The beer garden?
Yeah.
Paradise? In the back?
No, it's not.
Oh no, but that winery area now has that like hedge with like
and it's like we can't. What does it say? It says like at
but the seating, they put all that like lounge seating.
It definitely feels like you're
that
in
little
like Palm
area
Springs.
looks so nice now. And I remember
Oh,
last
is it
one.
at ocktails? Cocktails? Cocktail?
Yeah, that's a little confusing.
You know what was so strange to me was that people wanted that photo op. I mean, why?
Put something out, people will take a picture
For
of
the
it.
If it
Sonoma
was
Terrace
a
photo?
plain shrub, I might do it.
Oh, right, yeah. I don't know. I still love it.
Honestly, when I saw that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Langham Hotel. It's in Pasadena. Mm-hmm. It's a really nice hotel, luxury hotel. When you walk in, I believe they have a courtyard. They have a courtyard, yes?
Yes.
And there they have like this hedge so the courtyard, so you walk through the lobby and then you walk through the courtyard, and then to get where we were going, you had to go through there to the other side. And it's like a Japanese garden / enclosed courtyard. And in the middle, so when you walk in, you can go left or you can go right. But in the middle, they have like those two hedge type things. And then when we went, they had a neon sign that said the Langham, and it had a flower garland type of situation over it. I went ahead and I looked up like the location and also looked up their hashtag. Tons of people. I mean, this building is beautiful. So many pictures in front of this hedge. Like, it was crazy. I mean, the flower, it was gorgeous, and you know, it's a pink neon sign that says Langham. But that's what I thought this was when I first saw a picture pop up. I was like, oh, what is Langham doing? Are they doing like a thing? And then it was like, no, California Adventure. And I'm like, oh. So I don't know. It's a simple hedge, but it feels like, yes.
Yeah.
Like it's just slightly elevated, and it's very appropriate to a cocktail mixology / wine tasting situation.
Yeah.
And that area, is it called like Sonoma Terrace or whatever? It's just that refurb that they've done. I think
So
we've
good.
brought this up so many times now, but it's great.
Yeah. I loved it when it was a little more secret, but
Yeah, now everyone's there, but
But it
when
never
it's
feels crowded or
non-festival
crazy, yeah.
time, yeah, when it's non-festival time, no one is in there.
no.
It's great.
The best.
But yeah, so David and Susie, I know you guys have experienced it this year. We have not yet.
We did.
Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I think we went opening weekend or something, right? Or opening week.
Yeah, inadvertently, I think. Well, no, it's like a week and a half in, almost 2 weeks.
We went
but I mean,
early
it was
on,
early.
yeah.
It was early.
We went not so much specifically to do it. We knew we would want to, but we were renewing our passes, and we wanted Wes to have the same day pass, so we went that day specifically, and we're like, oh, we should probably, because we may not go as often now. We downgraded our passes, so we're like, we should probably try to do this,
Yeah.
or else we're not going to do it. So, so yes, we tried. I would say most of something at most of the booths. We probably skipped a couple, maybe 2 or 3 that just didn't interest us.
Yeah, especially because we ended up going through 2 sip and savor passes, but you know, we're getting 2 things at every booth. That's still not every booth.
Yeah.
So there were a couple booths where we were like, we'd like to try it, but we'll skip it this time if we come back.
Yeah. So standout things, Parky. I had the jalapeno lime margarita, which I have every time they do it, and every time I'm like, it's just too pre-mixed.
Yeah.
I really just gotta stop, because I think I keep hoping that it's not going to be, and don't know why, because that's what they do.
One of the first places we went was the garlic kissed booth, and we got that garlic banh mi pork belly
How was that?
sandwich. Oh, it was so good. And that was like one of the first things we got, and that was very good. And the other thing that we noticed was this was the first place we went when we got the mac and cheese.
I'm gonna talk about that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I was gonna mention the crumble on top.
That's what I'm talking about.
Got it. Okay.
So, in talking about like kind of the quality of food, or maybe lack thereof at this point, that's the one thing I feel like I could definitely like it's true. Like it's all about the picture, and even then, it's kind of disappointing because it's not even that picture worthy. But I felt like almost literally everything had a crumble on it, and it didn't make sense, and I didn't understand why every single
And it's
thing.
all like basically Cheetos.
Well, that's what they
or
did for
just-
the holidays too.
But and that's what I'm saying. Like, wow,
like
what
their
is
stuffing was crumble stuffing.
Yeah.
I think maybe because it's easier to get those flavors in. I mean, and the flavors sometimes don't come through. Yeah, I don't know, because then you just have like a box of some sort of crushed up something that is then getting stale because
Right?
it's just sitting out.
Yeah. But
Maybe
look at
it's
that
just
banh mi
cheap.
sandwich. That was
I
good.
don't know.
Oh, very.
How was it?
It
It was delicious.
Yeah, the banh mi was great.
We
but then
did.
there's the mac and
I
cheese
had
with
the Impossible Burger for the first time. Do you guys know about this Impossible?
I didn't like it.
Yeah, I've heard some people talking about
The
it.
Petite Impossible Burger with guac and pepper jack cheese at the Avocado Time booth. I only mention it mainly because I'd never had this Impossible Burger.
How was it?
It was okay. It was really fat, like
Yeah, well,
thick,
Here it is, yeah.
like ridiculously.
Thick.
That's upsetting.
and
It
juicy.
looks like a crusty
I
burger.
did think
or
it was
crappy.
Yeah, I did think it was very good though, because when we went to Ballast Point, I got the Impossible Burger straight up, and she got a regular burger. And while I liked the Impossible Burger, when I tasted the regular burger like immediately afterwards, I was like, "Oh, the Impossible Burger's not that good."
Well, I don't think you can ever. I don't think you should ever do that. That's
But
probably why.
with the pepper jack cheese and the pepper seasoning that they had on the burger itself, with no burger to compare it to, I thought it was really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will say, so I guess PETA, they said that Disney parks, or maybe just Disneyland, is the most vegan-friendly theme park, which is very nice and very inclusive. But this Impossible Burger, which could potentially be vegan friendly, is automatically made not vegan friendly by that piece of cheese on top.
That's
Which
true.
I thought was very funny.
Something that I remember being really good was the shrimp boil taco with andouille sausage and fresh
yes.
corn. Delish.
That was amazing.
Didn't have a crumble on it.
Did not.
And then
put a
the
crumble on
last
it.
thing I think I'll I guess talk about, and you can add on if you want.
Yeah.
This that Peppers Caliente booth. Now, they had we had both things, food offerings. One was a sustainable salmon Peruvian poke with cucumber lime salad and ají verde.
Verde.
Less rolling, just a verde.
Salsa, and a ghost pepper mac and cheese with chili cheese corn chip dust.
Dust.
So
I don't understand what this is about.
I don't know.
Cut
but
to
I
Robert
just
screaming, "Where's the
don't
stuffing?" during
Need
Christmas time.
it on everything,
Yeah.
and that's what kills me. Anyway, both. So this salmon poke was good. It was spicy but good. This ghost pepper mac and cheese, we almost couldn't get through.
Really?
Now,
Well, it's ghost pepper.
Yes, some people might. But here's the thing. I don't have problem with heat.
Yeah.
And, David, I'm not going to say that I can, I'll never necessarily, pick something to try to burn my, taste buds off. But, man, I think it was I think it's a batch by batch thing. It's obviously just a taste thing as well. Mm-hmm. But, because I've read a bunch of other people talking about it, and of course everyone decides they want to sit there and argue about whether it's actually hot or not. I'm just like, it's just so subjective.
Yeah, of
but
course.
geez Louise, that thing was so spicy.
Mm-hmm.
We barely got through it. We were using the salmon poke to try to cool, which is
something
spicy,
Yeah.
to try to cool our mouths off from this ghost pepper mac and cheese.
Did Wesley try it?
No, I joked
wouldn't
about
do that with him.
but that would not have been kind.
No. It was just not cool. It was disturbingly hot.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if it was
know.
just the batch,
Yeah.
because it might just be that.
Well, I know also when things sit for longer, they do get spicier.
Oh. Why is that, do you think?
I'm sure oils release. I mean, I may be completely wrong. I'm not a spiceologist, but,
Can we get one of those on the show?
Yeah. They just have ghost peppers and like touch their eyes.
What did I see? I saw at Trader Joe's. I saw like a ghost pepper chip or something, and I just kept walking.
No.
There's just no fun in this.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, we probably mistakenly ordered it to begin with, but I'm a sucker for almost anything mac and cheese.
Same.
And again, I like spice.
I prefer macaroni and cheese.
Ha.
I mean, I guess
Instead of
that's
some guy named Mac.
when I think of, oh, and then that street style taco was pretty good too.
Yeah, that was at the LA style. That was really good.
But I mean, yeah, I guess
Tasted
really
like asphalt.
literally anything that didn't have a crumble on it, I was okay with. Oh, we had a really good dessert, that chocolate thing.
Yeah, well, I was going to talk about that. That.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
And then there was like a strawberry shake thing, and I'm not a big fan of those things, but it was pretty good.
Oh, nice.
Well, so the first place we went after the ghost pepper mac and cheese was to get the strawberry float.
Nice.
And it was very good. Strawberry float with vanilla ice cream, whipped cream, and crunchy cereal garnish. It was Captain Crunch.
Crunchy cereal it had to have something crunchy on it.
I think
It
it's
did.
a textural thing because I believe
But this is it.
but
is it
this,
so
I feel like
yummy.
this makes
I would
sense.
100% drink that.
Yeah.
Isn't like is it like a thing, a culinary thing where you should have at least, I think, 2 to 3 different textures in your food to make it, because if you just have a mushy food
Yeah.
all the way through, people grow very bored and tired, and it sometimes becomes unappealing.
Then
if
why are
something-
mashed potatoes so good all the time?
Well, but you also pair that with something else.
That's
Yep.
true.
I mean, and I get it. Again, it comes from a like
Yeah,
get it out, because I'm like, couldn't you put like a cucumber? It's all this like crunch. It's like they literally took a bag of breadcrumbs and just put a
put it
couple
on top.
different spices on it for whatever the meal was or the dish was, and then sent it out. And it's just so like unappealing,
Yeah.
at least to me.
So the dessert was the Golden Dreams booth, which I was like, Golden Dreams, where is this? And it was by Little Mermaid. So I was like, oh, like Golden
Where the
Dreams
Little
Theater.
Mermaid is.
Yeah. But it was a chocolate peanut caramel parfait. It tasted like you were eating like an ice cream Snickers bar. It was so good.
I've heard nothing but good things about this thing. Everyone keeps saying that this is one of the
good.
bigger
Yeah, we hadn't
technical
heard about it,
takeaways.
but I was like, I think
It
this is
tasted
the
like
best thing.
Snickers.
Yeah,
Were you satisfied?
I was.
Yeah, there's that. Oh, did you guys encounter the frushi at all?
We saw it, but we didn't go to that booth, I don't think, even at all.
So I've had a conversation with several people about frushi.
We're not fans.
We might lose some followers with this. Frushi has never been good. I don't care what coast you're on.
Yeah.
It's never good. I've heard from someone deep in the bowels of that Disney park that frushi is only good when it is freshly made. But we will never get freshly made frushi because it is made and then it is refrigerated. And it is always dry and the fruit gets a little mushy and it's just not good. And I don't care what anyone says. And if someone says frushi is good, I automatically do not trust what they have to say.
Now, what do you trust?
Don't add her.
Do you trust someone
Don't
more
add her.
that likes frushi or likes cake pops?
I would take the person who likes cake pops, because I'm not a fan of them, but I have no interest in this other thing you guys are even talking about.
I might trust someone. It's really hard. I
say
can't
cake
decide.
pop.
I want to say, but cake pops are horrible.
They really are.
They're
I don't think Wes even liked it.
disgusting.
I got it for him one day thinking he would love it.
I don't think I've had one.
It's not good.
They're
You're
not
missing
good.
out.
It's cake, and it's the frosting to cake ratio is. There's more frosting over the cake than there.
Yeah. It tastes like cake dough. It's like they didn't bake it
Like
or
it's
something.
undercooked
Yeah.
because there's so much frosting, or they'll put chocolate in it so
I don't
that
like-
it holds a shape, and then they
Yeah.
dip it in white chocolate, or they'll dip it in chocolate, and I'm just like, there's no joy here.
I don't like frosting, period.
I know you don't. I don't
There
trust
were
you
some
either.
non-alcoholic beverages. I will say that for the most part, the alcoholic offerings were just not. Plus, I probably learn my lesson every time I try this like margarita that they want to serve
Yeah.
me. But
The
there were
beers, yeah.
the beers were fine, but there were a few non-alcoholic. But it just, again, it gets so expensive. Like there's a watermelon lemonade, limeade. I might have that if we go back again, just for like, because it's a little warmer, it's refreshing. But if you get one of those non-alcoholic drinks at every booth.
So they did not bring back the violet lemonade?
No.
Why? That was
I know.
such a delight.
I feel like they had something and I was like, oh, that must be what's replacing the lavender lemonade or whatever. But no.
That was one of the favorites.
It was such a delight. It was so good. Like, keep your frushi. Bring me this lemonade.
But it's like you said, right? Whatever.
I mean, frushi is very, very Instagrammable. It is so cute.
Well, so here's my thing. That's the hard part is like, I'm just so torn because like I get it. I'm guilty of it. But geez Louise, I don't want to compromise on the actual.
Especially if I'm spending upwards of $6 on essentially 3 bites of food. I would like those 3 bites of food to be very delicious.
Oh my God, there was something at that Sonoma Wine Terrace too. They had like a mimosa flight of sorts, and there was one that had, I don't know if it was like a sparkling rosé or I don't know. I was thinking about getting it, but they put a thing of cotton candy in it, and I was like,
yeah, I did see that in someone's photo, and they were like cotton candy, and I was like, oh, you're the reason why this works out for people.
There was also a brie offering over there. It was a little too full to have it, but it looked delicious. So
it did. It was like a brie infused or like like injected with berries of some sort. Yeah, I took a picture of it. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to make a list and go.
Delightful. Oh, we also had the lemon macaron, which was good.
The lemon macaron is such a solid. I'm really glad that it was back. Oh, did they have the Moscow Mule there?
I think so.
That's really good. That looks delightful. I like the little.
Not part of the sip and savor pass though, but you can go over there and have
the cheese never is.
Well, like it's weird because it's also the Sonoma Terrace is in the book. It's the like one of the last pages, but there's no place to like stomp the thing.
Stamp.
Yeah, stamp the thing.
Stomp the stamp.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, it all sounded delicious.
So, if you
for the stuff that you liked,
had the opportunity to go back, I mean, would you recommend? Do you recommend the Food and Wine Festival? I guess is my question.
Yeah, I do. I would. I mean, I still will partake. I may start to be a little more selective.
Yeah, I think we do it differently than we would have. I mean, even when the first year that they brought it back, we signed up for a tequila tasting. We did like all the stuff. All we do now are the booths. Like we do it like it's EPCOT. Like,
I think I might, not this year because this year is away from me, but I think I would like to do one of the demonstrations and maybe do one of the dessert ones.
Yeah, no, I think
go do that.
Yeah, I think they would still be really. I think that's where the specialty might still exist.
Yeah.
But it's expensive and it's harder to get them because you're competing. I feel like it just wasn't a thing before.
Yeah.
No.
And I think they have an opportunity to open up the 2 stages, stage 12 and stage 27, to have some indoor cool things like a festival marketplace or
but
showplace.
I think this is sort of what she was touching on when she said like it's a different.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I feel like I'm this in between that just doesn't get catered to at times because I can appreciate like change and like experimenting and all this stuff, but then at the same time I miss so much of the actual like quality of things. Even I heard about this junior chef thing that you talked about, and Wes is actually like of age to do it. So I was like, oh, maybe we'll try to do that. And he napped, so it didn't work out. But we did go watch the show just to see if what it was like. But it just felt entirely too long. And really all it is a bunch of kids up there making like cookies at each station, and like Goofy comes out and like helps. And they get a cookie at the end.
That they had that at Disneyland at so where the Jolly Holiday is now. It used to be something else. What was it called? And then it was before it was the AP Center.
Yeah.
It was something else.
I've forgotten what it was.
Was it there or maybe at the Plaza? But I feel like it was there. They had a cookie camp. I'm gonna call it. I don't know what it's officially called, but you could go there and you would bake cookies. And they gave you a little hat, and they did a thing, and Goofy would come out, and you guys did a thing.
And you
would
put
get
all
a
the
cookie.
ingredients, and then you put it in a magic stove, or magic oven.
Yeah.
That's the show. That's
literally
a
the
California
show.
Adventure.
It just felt a little too long. Like I was like imagining Wes up there for the whole time.
Yeah, he'd be
and I was
ready to
just
go.
Like, and maybe the cutoff date or cutoff age should just be higher. Again, it's no one's taking it seriously, so maybe there's just that. But in my mind, it was just like, oh, I thought this would be a little different. So
Yeah.
but yeah, he did love the chef's hat.
Mm-hmm.
We did do the AP like corner thing, which is in the Blue Sky Cellar.
Oh, that's right.
Gave you a pin. It's a cute photo op. They had like big oversized forks and spoons.
Oh, I've seen that.
I mean the ears are cute, but I didn't buy them.
The one with the plastic
Fork, yeah,
cutlery on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of wish you could take that cutlery off.
Same.
Yeah.
I was like, I get where you guys are going with this, but
They
I don't
went
love
too
it.
far.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think that's it.
You're just imagining Bob Barker right now, aren't you? Yeah. Well,
I would say we still enjoy. Maybe it's just like the thrill of the chase. I don't know. You just hope something's gonna be really good, and I think for me, I'm just gonna start to be a little more selective. And we were even this year. Like we very much were like, meh, we're just gonna skip that because things sound appealing, but
that's how I was during Festival of the Holiday. I just went and bought the Sip and Savor, and I was like, I don't know. Eventually, I think I might have used my last 2 tabs on something I had previously because I wasn't super taken by a lot of stuff. So I have a feeling in quickly reviewing this year's offerings for food and wine that I will be of the same.
Yeah.
So
it's cheaper that way.
Yeah. I mean, I probably still got the Sip and Savor. Just so I'm like, this is it.
Yeah, I do think that's still a good like value, if you will.
Yeah.
Because then you can chase the expensive things and know you came out ahead.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure they've taken into account they're still coming out ahead. But
Well, they're like, no cheese for you.
But yeah.
But yeah.
But overall, I think we still had a good time. Wes likes to partake in some of the food offerings now, and yeah. And it wasn't very crowded. Like I feel like we got in right before like the spring break crowds started.
Nice.
So that was good.
That was it.
Well, very nice. We learned all about the Food and Wine Festival and the history of festivals food festivals, that is, at Disney California Adventure. Is there anything else that we want to add before we wrap this one up?
No, I just want to. I wanted to ask people if they had photos from those first 4 years. We'd love to see them, and you should leave them in some comments below.
Yeah.
Yes, please. yes.
It'd be nice if they did a Halloween food festival back in those days where everything is candy corn.
No.
They did have candy corn acres, remember?
Yeah, exactly.
They do. But, I mean, look at that. During Halloween, they have all those Halloween offerings. This year, they had that map that came out this past year. And, they did have, like, that candy corn macaron full of candy corn and whatever else,
I love candy corn.
And they had something for everyone. And that's something that I really appreciate about these festivals is they have these offerings that they don't have all year long. They have offerings in small bites for foods that you may not actively seek out, but you're like, I'm at Disneyland. Sure, I'll try this.
Yeah, and that's really the beauty of the one at EPCOT because you're trying things from all over the world.
And maybe that's what we're missing here. Maybe I guess it sort of does touch on some so we didn't talk about it quickly. I'll kind of squeeze it in, I guess, at this point. But there was like a deconstructed chicken musubi offering. And again, I'm just a purist at this point, and I'm just like, either do it or don't.
Yeah.
I get it. Spam weirds people out, but it just doesn't make sense otherwise. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just what it is. It should be more worldly versus.
I mean, California Adventure is already almost not about California. You might as well.
I mean, who knows what the future holds
in
for
essence,
it.
it. I mean, really, when I feel like we've touched on this before. It is almost like our EPCOT, and I get it. Like it should be. None of this stuff belongs in Disneyland, but how do we make it more? Again, cultural, I guess, because that is one of the things that I mean, again.
Well, you bring the World Showcase.
Well, but I mean, it has so many different offerings. It has Latin American food. It has different parts of Asia food. I mean, it may not be like Russian Asian, but there's everything. And during Festival of the Holidays, they expanded even more. To echo what you're saying, Susie, they need to commit more to the cultural authenticity of it.
Sure.
Make it more authentical. Just do it. And there is a way to elevate, but deconstructing something is not a way to elevate food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's really not.
Yeah.
It's,
You know how you can elevate it? Just add another patty on there. That's what you do.
Oh my gosh.
Put a second thing of Spam on it.
Put it on a small platform.
Yeah, just hold it up. Lion King that the whole way through. Oh, that's really elevated.
You make it 3 feet long.
This isn't a hot
Long
dog.
or high?
Both.
Okay.
But yeah, just make it more authentic, and use ingredients that are commonly found in California.
Like Spam.
Like Alice Waters. Are you guys familiar with Alice Waters? She was a leading pioneer in the, if you think of California cuisine, because California does have its own cuisine. She was one of those people who was the leading forefront. She has a restaurant, several restaurants, I believe, up north. She's amazing. And she really showcases what can be grown locally. The local artists who make wines and olive oils and whatever else that really showcase what we're able to do in California.
Yeah.
Might as well do the same thing with this. And bringing in more of the sponsorship for local places, and really just go balls to the wall with like making it California centric, but with the people that live here.
Yeah. Well, that's how it felt. That's how it felt before, was that I don't remember the booths so much, but everything felt like a local California winery had representatives come down here and do that thing. So almost every winery has a restaurant attached, have their chef train the Disney staff and dedicate that each booth, rather than a theme like whatever they are, like this one's the bushel of berries booth and this is the almond breeze booth. Like, just make it, this is this winery's booth, this is this winery's booth, and then the wine that you serve there is from that winery, and the food that is there is from that they grow on their property or something like that. Sure. And that's way more interesting than themed foods.
I agree.
I would agree as well. Yeah.
And it's only here for a month and a half. Like, you don't have to please everybody, every Joe Schmo that wants to come in and have a peanut butter and jelly, deconstructed peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
But I guess that's the thing, right? So if it's not going to make the money, and if it's going to cost them more money, or, too much effort, and that, again, that's where
they can only take so much of a chance, I suppose.
Yeah.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe someone from Disney will listen to what we have to say and just be like, oh, okay. I mean, I highly doubt that, but, you never know. But yeah.
Well, should we wrap this up? David, where can we be found?
You can find us on the internet at Remain Seated Pulse on Twitter, Remain Seated Please on Facebook and Instagram, and please also be sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, like Daniel Rodrigue 713 on iTunes. Said, as a lifelong Disneyland fan, this podcast is the first time I've heard others talk in detail about the nuances and details that make Disneyland such a special and personal experience. Whenever I'm missing the parks, this show gives me the fix I need until my next visit. keep the shows coming.
Oh, well,
That's
thank
so
you.
nice.
Here we are with season 3, just for you and the other listeners.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to forget where we can find Inthia and Suzi.
You can find me at Magically Delicious in all the places.
I am still at A Little Sprinkle of Disney on Instagram, although I've been absent for a while, but I do plan on. Is this important?
Season 3 of...
Season 3 of A Little Sprinkle of Disney coming soon. Yeah.
Well, thank you. So,
With that, I'm David.
I'm Robert.
I'm Inthia.
I'm Suzi.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
There. That wasn't so bad. Was it?
I'll see you all a little later.
You may not survive to pass this way again.
Time to be moving along.
Hurry back.
And barrel around to see us again.
By the way, not to interrupt, but you look like a really sexy Bob Barker right now.
Bob Barker. Have you ever seen him in person? He looks like a leathery puppet.
But you're holding the microphone like him.
Gonna say like a sexy reporter
Or like a hacker, because you've got like a
Sexy
headphones
journalist.
on and your hoodie. Like,
Who's that sexy Bob Barker back there?
I'm gonna make her a star.
spay and neuter your pet.